Okay, we are live.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Adequate notice of the meeting of the Lawrence Township Council being held on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024, has been provided through the posting of the annual meeting schedule of said council in accordance with Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act. Said notice was forwarded to the Trentonian, the Times, and the Princeton Packet on December 11th, 2023. I'd like to just take a moment. At last council meeting, I read proclamations for several members of our community who were celebrating 100 birthdays and 95. One person that I didn't get to mention who recently passed was Mr. George Dowers, who was a resident of Orchard Avenue in the Eggers Crossing, Eldridge Park community. Mr. Dowers was 95 years old, and he has 3 children in the township, George, Lori, and Bryce, who some of you may remember was a police officer here in the township. His father was my neighbor, and Mr. Dowers was a lively, young, spiffy of a man. He really was a true special person in our community, and we will miss him, and we send our condolences to the Dowers family. So with that, Madam Clerk, if we could have the inspiration.
May we carry out our work at this meeting in a just, honorable, and sincere manner, always bearing in mind our duties and continuing to keep Lawrence a wonderful community in which to live. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if we could have the roll call, please.
Mr. Bobbitt.
Here.
Mr. Kaneki.
Here.
Ms. Perry.
Here.
Mr. Ryan.
Here.
Mayor Farmer.
Here. Thank you. And now, do we have any special proclamations, recognitions, or presentations? None, right? Not this evening, okay. This will then bring us to the first opportunity for public participation with a 5-minute limit per speaker. Board, and just state your name and your address.
Sylvia Cobus, 1547 Ohio Avenue. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight. Well, first of all, happy December. Happy almost holiday season, and the room looks beautiful. Today, as I was leaving my house, as I crossed Cherry Tree or turned into Cherry Tree Lane, a truck from Trenton Black and Hartcake Supply was going towards the business. It was a fully loaded flatbed truck with pavers stacked up on it. It couldn't enter or go any further than Ohio Avenue pretty much because the Trenton Black employees had moved the stacked up curbs. We have supplied the Township Council members with those pictures multiple times. In the front of the business, there are curbs that you put in the ground. So they have all of those stacked up on like wooden beams to separate them. That whole thing was on the street today. The truck was stuck, waiting for them to make room for that truck to go in further. The truck was blocking a mailbox of a couple of my neighbors. Again, the forklift was going back and forth without any spotters. So it's a continual issue. We continuously come and ask for resolution with that. This is a problem because we feel, or I feel, my husband, I can only speak for myself and for my husband, that unfortunately the township does not, or code enforcers, whoever it is responsible for that, there is no upholding of ordinances within the township, and it's an issue. The only person is Mr. Desher, I think, who upholds the ordinances of the leaf disposal, brush disposal, all of that. He's out there all the time. I think he's the only one. And it's unfortunate because with Mr. Dasher's example, the individual homeowners are kept responsible for incorrect brush disposal or leaf disposal or trash disposal, whatever it is, we are held responsible for it. And then there is a business. It's not a nonprofit organization that's doing something good for the township. It's a for-profit business that continuously is using our residential street, that is the access to the canal, Delaware River, Raritan Canal, and making it dusty and dirty and dangerous sometimes to walk on because of all the gravel and dust that's spilled there all the time. Couple of weeks ago, maybe a little longer than that, there was a major spill during the delivery for that Trenton block from other company. The gravel was spilled right by CVS on Cherry Tree Lane. That's the entrance to the CVS. That's the only exit from the parking lot from CVS, because the other one is only the entrance to Valley Forge. I know that the police did come. I'm not sure of the outcome because we were not the ones notifying the police about it. I believe a sweeper was also there after it. There was no cones. Nobody was watching that intersection. It was right as you enter Cherry Tree Lane from Route 1. So it's an issue. It's a continuous issue. And they have outgrown their property lines. They continue to use public street as an extension of their business. And it's unfair to all of us, to the taxpayers, not only in my neighborhood, but if that's allowed in my neighborhood, when we come and report it over and over for 2.5 years, what's happening in other parts of the township where residents are not engaged? So we keep on asking for some kind of resolution. We keep on asking what's allowed, what's not allowed for them to do. One of their advertisements says, they have on their trucks operating since 1947. They're not operating since 1947. They're operating from there and existing there and existing altogether as Trenton Block and Hardscape Supply since 2003, not 1947. So I'm asking once again for some kind of resolution and some kind of action on this, because we're not only frustrated, but also disappointed. Thank you.
Council, is there anything that
Well,
we are in our right to do?
it's really, I would agree that it's an enforcement issue, and, the council does not enforce. It's obviously the officials within the township that have to enforce the ordinances. And, if there's continued repetitive violations, they should be cited. But was really, we've gone through this. I did an extensive review of Mr. Roscoe's analysis of the zoning. It's a complicated matter, but I think he was basically correct in this being grandfathered. And I'm familiar with the site. I went over there. I've driven over there a few times. And I understand their frustration. It's unfortunate, but I really think it has to go towards more of an enforcement issue. And if there are violations of our ordinances, they should be cited.
Thank you.
May I ask a question? Are there ordinances that we can improve upon, that we could?
I guess we could look at that, but if you do something just in essence against a single entity, a single business, a single homeowner or whatever, that would be illegal. You can't do it just for one. If it's broad enough to cover, the entire township, we really have to be careful on our language, but doing an ordinance to try to, in essence, stop whatever activity for a particular business would legally be a very difficult thing to do.
So just to understand, it's an enforcement issue, so we would need for someone to visit the business and have a conversation with the owners about the violations.
That's for the administration to do. So, that's really outside of, obviously, the council has no enforcement ability.
May I ask a
Yes, go
question?
ahead. Mhm.
Did we send our sweeper down to clean this up? By any chance, do you know?
Oh, I don't know.
Could you find out?
Yeah.
We shouldn't be paying for the cleanup. It should be billable. This is the first I'm hearing it.
Yeah, this goes, it's an interesting point, if this is the right form for it, but just in terms of the mention of the leave situation, how we enforce leave pickups and stuff like that. Although that's individual residents versus a business who's responsible for cleanup or things of that nature. Is that similar? Is that apples to apples?
So
Apples to
Lawrence
oranges.
Township
Yeah.
has never had, to my knowledge, zoning enforcement officers traveling around the town proactively looking for enforcement issues. We have selected to do that for the brush ordinance because we were having a problem township-wide in terms of people not following the rules, and that's why, to get a handle on it, we hired somebody to proactively educate those that were violating it, and it's been very successful in terms of keeping our roads clear from leaves and safer for pedestrians and bicyclists. So we don't have someone driving around looking for ordinance violations. If there's individuals that timely report an active situation, I think we would absolutely send somebody out there, send a police officer out there with regard to it.
So that would
Look,
I'm sorry, when you're done.
At this
we're
point,
done.
yeah.
My,
Mr. Manager, wait a minute.
Okay.
Mr. Manager, at this point, because it's become quite a bit of a quality of life issue, could we look into that possibly?
Well-
Using the model of brush to somehow monitor this particular?
monitor this business.
You can't do that.
Yeah, let's say,
It's not-
so,
you can't
so
do-
I
you
can
can't
tell
do
you.
that. I'm taking my words back.
This is not as much, this matter, this town has spent hundreds of hours on, both legally and within staff, to address the issues that are involved. The township attorney at the time, and Mr. Sipek has just indicated he's reviewed the legal aspects of this whole thing. And that particular business is grandfathered in terms of loading and unloading product. It's just, it's been around to a point where it's established that grandfather was, and that's a legal thing. So when when issues that Mrs. Coates has identified go beyond that, that's certainly something we should absolutely be looking at and responding to for sure. But the loading and unloading aspect alone, they're well within their rights to do it. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. I mean, it's been tough in, their neighborhoods. It's awful what's happening. Right? We all understand that.
Just to be a good neighborly business, maybe, I don't know how, let me just say that, just people could have had conversations with the business.
You guys weren't here when
Right.
a lot of this was happening,
Yeah.
right? And there was attempts to eliminate some of the issues that we're having. And it was shut down. And we've now have an issue where the products are now pushed closer to the street. And it's a more exasperated situation than it was 3 or 4 years ago. Because they were using township land and we went to court, spent thousands of dollars and told them to get off the township land.
Right.
And now that pushed all that inventory onto their land and intensified the work that was being done out in front of that location and on that street to the detriment of the residents.
Okay. I think
My name's Nancy Albertson. Just in reference to what Kevin is saying, loading and unloading on the street, I don't think that's really legal on a public street in front of a state park. And they're still loading on the back end of that property that the township owns, because I've seen them now that the trees are all gone. All the leaves are down. So, and I don't know, Kevin, what are you speaking about resolution to issues? Because I don't really see much resolution except they cleared off their stuff. That all their inventory has always been close to the street. So I don't know what really has
Well,
happened.
I'm going to defer to Art Siteback with regard to the law. So, because you made a comment about what you think the law is. Art is well situated to be able to provide the law with regard to that. And that's something that the township attorney has spent a lot of time researching, going through the historical documents and our zoning laws and things like that. So I'll defer to the council with regard to that. With regard to the product being pushed forward, I mean, if we'll based upon what's happening, we'll send somebody out again tomorrow to figure this all out and do more, but it's got to be within the law. It's not to say it's an enforcement issue. Well, what are you enforcing? You have to enforce a law that is enforceable, right? So with a fresh set of eyes, maybe Mr. Siteback can look and see if he can give us some direction on what else that we can do.
Yeah.
I do think that the business is actively looking for another site. Actually, I know that for a fact, and this hopefully could be.
Well, that would be a great resolution, but.
Well, that's, I cannot,
Yeah.
I can't comment on that issue, but I'm informed that this is something that could prove to be a moot point.
Well, yeah, and they've outgrown their site, obviously.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
they've used township property for years without any ramifications.
Well, the ramifications was we took them to court.
Yeah.
And
But
it's-
nothing was resolved. They moved off, but they're still using it. They never restored the
So,
property, they built
a
it.
lot of times what
Excuse me.
happened.
I was talking, they never built up the property, they never returned it to prior, the way it was. The trees will not grow there for years, probably none of our lifetime. And so they were asked to move off. Okay, great, but,
I think the next step was the fence.
Yeah.
well, the fence, yes, but and we're waiting for the fence. So you guys said by the end of December, so
Mhm. It's
I'll be
okay.
back up here again in January.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, all
Okay.
right, thank you.
All right, moving on. Is there any additional comments? Okay.
Hi, my name is Cindy Zagorski. I'm here to talk about the Recreation Department and the Community Center. I've been involved with the Recreation Department since 1975. I know I don't look that old, but I was wondering about the task force that the mayor has put together. Is anyone from the Recreation Department involved with that?
We will be hearing from the superintendent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she will be.
Okay, because we, as a group, the advisory committee, we were going to get together and have a little presentation. We haven't done it yet. We're just reviewing all the reports. And we were told that there were members of the council that voted against us doing a presentation. So
Yes.
I kind of thought that was odd because we're appointed by the council, but yet we can't speak to the council.
You're a committee and you have a liaison
Right,
on the council.
right. And will he be a part of the task force?
No, he is not.
Okay.
It's not about, it's a community task force.
It's not about.
It's not about the, recreation department.
Oh. Doesn't the recreation department have couldn't they be involved with this building?
Please clarify
Okay. The task force is for community members with regards to the Lawrence Center.
And how did you get this group of people?
They're community members. It's the mayor's task force. It is not the rec department. The rec department is a separate entity.
Right, so it sounds to me like you're going toward the direction that that building will have nothing to do with the recreation department.
You're assuming correctly. So
Okay.
You're just
Okay,
assuming.
well, time will tell. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Eric Blitty, just with regards to Trenton Block, there's a little bit of gaslighting that's happening here from the administration as far as the enforcement of ordinances, the historical nature of the whole situation, and I think it's very necessary to put it on record. First of all, we're talking about a business blocking a right-of-way to a state park. Now, whether or not that's something that is somehow allowable because it's a business operating in the street, I'm not going to make that determination. There's a business that regularly and actively creates unsafe conditions for entering a state park from there. And that's a community equity issue, that's a health issue, it's a public safety issue, it's an environmental issue, it's an issue across the board. And it has not been tended to at all since the inception of this since this has all come to light. Residents have called, whether it's the township or the police, when this stuff's going on, when access is blocked, when it's unsafe, nothing happens for whatever reason. And that's not your five's role. That's not on you guys. I'm just alerting you that that is the reality of this. Same thing happened when trees were being cut down. Township was informed as it was happening on township parkland, a business cutting down township trees so that they can use the space for profit. Nothing happened. The township did take Trenton Block to court after, I want to say it was a year, maybe even a year and a half of lobbying from the residents. We paid for that. There was no, as far as I know, attorney's fees recouped. All they did was pull off. They didn't restore the land. And now, while the fence is certainly necessary and welcomed by some of the residents, we're paying for it. It says, what it sort of speaks of to other businesses in this town is that crime does pay. Because they were allowed to do everything they did with the knowledge of the manager, who at the time even was the township attorney. He said himself, I laid eyes on it. When that property transaction happened, that they were on township property then, nothing happened.
You know what, that's not true.
You said it. It's
That's
at me.
not
You said I
true.
laid eyes on it. I asked
That
you.
is not true, and I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna continue to allow untruthful things to be said about me. It's unacceptable.
You
It's
can consult the
and
YouTube
you
video.
said, as it was happening, trees were being cut down as it was
You
happening.
got emails.
As it was,
emails.
as the trees
You
were
got
being
emails.
cut down.
You got emails.
Okay,
This has been going on for years, Mr. Newinski.
as it was happening.
You got emails then. You did. You did. It's just like when the sycamores were being cut down along.
I'm sorry, Mr. Committee, we're not gonna have back and forth.
Understandable.
It's not the decorum for this meeting.
Understandable. All I was,
We recognize the concerns of the residents and the community, and thank you for bringing it to our attention. As was stated, as members of council, we are not enforcers.
understood.
We will go back to, review with council. We'll speak with Mr. Nowinski to get additional information and to see what it is that we can do. As was stated, there's a possibility that the business may be considering moving location, which I think, that's their right to do, okay? So for this meeting, we'll pause here
Mhm.
and we'll do some more review. Thank you for your comments and for your passion about your community.
Last question would be, there are numerous businesses at that end of town within a 1 mile tract that are violating zoning ordinances. What recourse should we take if there's an unwillingness from the township to enforce those laws when it's brought to their attention? And I propose that question because residents just don't right now, because they say it's a business, what are you gonna do? They come after people erroneously, arbitrarily, sometimes capriciously about weeds, but these zoning matters are just not enforced. Drive by them every day, been driving by them for years, not just Trenton Block.
Okay.
So I don't know what recourse we have.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
Madam Mayor, may I make a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
I would ask the township attorney to provide legal guidance on how to enforce the current ordinances and zoning laws in the state of New Jersey and what guide municipalities in the state of New Jersey. Give us guidance on what exactly we could do in terms of the loading and unloading of inventory on the street in front of that building. That would help us.
And if I could just add to that point, the comment that was made regarding a public park,
Okay,
Access to a public park.
access to a public park.
okay.
But don't you have to look at it as the whole township, because not just there, but on Route 1, when they unload the cars, they're on that side road. All right. so
Loading and
you
unloading
gotta
is
look at-
allowed all over the community
Right.
for the one-off situations, for sure.
Right, it has to be the whole township, it's not that area.
Or even if we could find something similar elsewhere, just statewide or national, just so we have something to compare to.
Okay.
Yes, Greg Footing, between Seven Book Rhode Island. I would just like to add, and I know we're talking about grandfathering and everything with Trenton Block, but there's outside displays at that property, which if you look at Google photographs, they were not there when this was grandfathered in, and that's against the Lawrence Township zoning ordinance. They also have product in the right of way where the street is, which is the legal right of way, and we're talking about a legal right of way to a state park, okay? And that was not blocked from 1947. It was just recently done. So when these ordinances were looked at, and I believe the attorney from Ms. Cobus has the exact ordinances written out that we're concerned about in the documents that she gave, I think about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, okay? We'd like to see answers to all of those, and we asked for answers to all of those. So I understand their grandfather, but I also understand that there's no records of them being grandfathered or asking the zoning board for relief on that. And I think that's a legal matter that also has to be looked at. But as far as the street goes, the street should be clear for people to go up and down, and there should not be product stored in the right of way. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no additional comment, we vote 3-4.
One more.
Oh, it's a Giants fan.
He's dedicated. I was just thinking that.
It doesn't get any worse.
The Jets.
You know what? They were looking good on Sunday until the end.
Good evening, everyone. I wasn't gonna speak, but a couple of things.
Your name, sir?
Nick's Fair, 116 Oakland Terrace. Touching back to the ordinances, I mean, there's enforcement on the leaf ordinances. We know that because it was an issue. I drive around this township and I've addressed stuff with the DEP as far as trash up against the Shenandoah Creek in the Home Depot section, which they did clean up. And much like the concerns of these residents on Ohio, we're enforcing leaves and twigs, but yet I can drive around and look at privately owned properties. We'll call out Lawrence Shopping Center for one. There's trash all over that place. We don't have code enforcements that enforce the leaves and twigs that drive around and see this amount of trash that's getting into our waterways. The Capitol Car Wash, every time I drive by there is a ton of trash out front. No one from this township enforces littering in this township. I mean, the amount of trash that's getting into our waterways, if we have a code enforcement, if I leave a vehicle on blocks without registration, I'm getting a letter in my mailbox. And little things like this, these people have a right to live in their neighborhoods, grandfathered or not. If we're enforcing leaves and twigs, we need to look at the rest of this township and somehow enforce the blights that are blatant that we're not addressing. I've reached out in the past about the shopping center and it was COVID, but you look at Mercer Mall and you look at any of these other one-on-one, whatever that's called now, but they're neat and clean because their owners care. I've reached out to the Lawrence Shopping Center owners, but nothing. So it's up to our township ordinance enforcers, whoever, to keep this place clean. Done with that one. The rec advisory board, right, is reading right from the township website. The Lawrence Township Rec Advisory Committee is appointed by town council to work with Lawrence Township Recreation Department to evaluate recreational needs of township and to plan and promote activities for residents of Lawrence. The committee meets first Thursday of the month, which we have a tree lighting this week. So the council, their committee asked to meet with council and council said no. Based on what are we calling this? The community center? What's the word that?
Let me just clarify something, and I'll refer to Mr. Lindsay. The rec department is a function of the town manager. The mayor's task force is a committee based on my request to study, to advise council on a very specific subject. So they're two separate things.
What is that specific subject that you were?
The Lawrence Community Center.
The Lawrence Community Center. So when this community center comes to
That
fruition.
home front vacated October 1st.
Understood. But when this thing comes to full fruition and it's in place, however we manifest it, what department will be managing that community center?
That will be determined. The manager is responsible for the rec department. The community group is advising council. There are two
That's not the
separate
question
things.
I asked. The question I
Well,
asked
there is
is,
no answer to your question today.
Yeah.
so this
Not
community
yet.
center is,
There is no answer to your question as of yet. That is why there is the task force.
okay, but with that task force, you don't think that you would include community members that are already and
It
on
is
the
a
advisory?
separate entity. It is not rec department.
It's a community center. The
It is
rec deals
not-
with the community. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just telling you the facts. The rec department is a direct responsibility of Township Manager Nowinski.
Okay. And this community center is yet to be determined.
The community center is a real estate property of Lawrence Township.
Okay, so we don't know what direction we're taking it. I mean, rec has made recommendations to take over that community center?
That will be, you will hear more information once the committees meet.
Okay, well, like I said, I would hope that you would consider at least picking from the advisory committee part of your group to help steer the committee in the decisions of the community.
The committee is based on the historical importance of the community center. The rec committee, as I mentioned, is a direct relationship with the rec department, the community,
Understood?
township manager, so they're two separate things.
Gotcha. So this community center is for
It's
the,
real estate of Lawrence Township taxpayers.
the purpose ultimately is for the entire community of Lawrence Township.
It has always been the community center's mission to support the entire Lawrence Township. Nothing changes
And
there.
that's why I asked that you consider whatever your committee
The
is.
task force has been
Has been picked already?
been selected.
And is that public knowledge? We have that information?
You read the newspaper article, right?
I did not.
Okay.
I will.
I'll give you additional information, will come out. The committee is meeting on December 4th. More information to come from that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then, one more thing, I'm still waiting for an email from,
Okay, we're at one time.
okay, but I'm still waiting for my email from 2 meetings ago that people were gonna get back to me about the statement that I made about the committees being cut. And I was told, I think, Mr. Nowinski, my information's on record, we were gonna get the information back to me.
We're in the process.
Kevin, I'm sorry, not to call you out on it. Somebody, whether it was the attorney, said that, yes, we'll have someone contact you, information's on file. I've yet to receive an email.
We're in the process of reviewing committees that's coming up now. We'll be determining the size of committees at that time.
And ultimately, from what I understand,
So,
the
wait,
statement
Mr.
was,
Ferry?
yes, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
and that's kind of time.
The issue was about a council member indicating a reduction of the.
Correct.
I have nothing to do with that,
No, no.
please. I've got my own problem.
I know you do,
know what I mean?
Kevin, trust me.
So
But no-
the governing body is the one that discusses and makes decisions with
Yes.
regard to its advisory committee. So you're not going to receive an email from me.
It
with
wasn't from
regard to
you. Ultimately, whether it came from the attorney or somewhere on that end, I was told that someone will email me. So I'm sorry, Kevin, I put you on the spot. I was told I would get an email from this group, and I have not received anything yet. As far as cutting,
Thank you for your comments. We're at one time.
okay, thank you. But as far as cutting people that volunteer, that's something that you really need to think about.
Yes, Councilwoman, you may make a comment. Go ahead.
I would like to make a general comment because I want to try to clear the air. The mayor's task force is focused on the community, is focused on how do we fill the void of the nonprofit that is no longer in the community center. That is a key part of this community going forward. It does not hinder, it will not take away from the rec department. The rec department is the governing body that the manager controls. What the mayor is trying to do, and forgive me if I'm putting words in your mouth, is fill that void and see what the proper strategy would be to make sure that the community is continued to be serviced as it has always been. We are not the rec department against the community center, which is what I'm hearing. And if someone is watching this video, that's what they're hearing. We are Lawrence Township. We are here as a united front to do what's best for the community with the guidance of the manager that we will ask if anything needs to be done. But we are here to set strategies, not to be pinned against each other, but most importantly, to grow the community, to grow the rec center if it needs more volunteers, the growth and development, all of the committees. So I hope going forward, that's what we focus on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Mayor.
Sure.
In terms of, sort of unity, it would be nice if you could share with the membership of this task force before it's made public so that we can all be able to speak with residents about this. This is the first time hearing that you've already chosen.
I'll take that under advisement. Thank you.
And sure, you can take it under advisement, that's fine there. And also I hope I think we're missing the point that the Recreation Committee is actually an advisory committee chosen by council. It is not part of Mr. Nowinski. It's not part of the day-to-day operations. the recreation committee are volunteers in our community, much like the ones that you've chosen for your task force, who care about recreation opportunities in this township.
I
So
totally agree.
And so I think what I was hearing was that you were pitting them against
No,
this
no,
task
no,
force.
no, no.
No, that's what I'm saying, that's what I heard,
Sure, that's
right?
very
That's my
true.
truth, all right? And so what I would like for us to get to a more collaborative place with the task force. And what concerns me is when I hear the historic background of it and not looking forward to the future, right? I would hope that this task force is looking towards the future of Lawrence Township and all the residents of this township and not looking to the past and trying to keep the community centers stuck in the past, right? That's all.
Thank you for your comments. Okay. All right, I think we've closed now, the public participation, and we're moving on to,
Number
is there
7.
any review, or revisions to the agenda? Councilman Bobbitt?
Mayor, I'd like to pull 18H10 to further work on it and speak with members of council.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to remove that from today's agenda.
I second.
We have a second. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Yes. Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Okay. Adoption.
Madam Mayor,
Mhm.
I would like to hold for discussion purposes, introduction to ordinance to speak with the attorney on this ordinance and see if it can be clarified a lot better than what it is. There's too many open ends on it, and to talk about this tonight, I think we first talk about it, and then if it goes to a vote.
Okay.
Is that 10A?
Which one are you referring
10A,
to?
10A. All right.
Okay. Okay.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
No.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes.
Just so I'm clear, was that a motion to table or what
To
are we
table.
doing?
To table.
Was that a tabling motion? I'm not
Can
sure
we read
if
the ordinance?
Yeah, read.
Could we read the ordinance, please, that we are referring
Restate
to?
it for everyone. Restate it. for everyone.
Restate the ordinance if you're tabling. The name of the word, the
Just
ordinance, the
restate the
language.
ordinance that we're tabling.
No, it's
Wait a minute.
10A. I guess
So,
what,
hold on.
my question, excuse me,
Mhm.
my question is, just what action you want to take? Do you want to discuss it tonight? Do you want to discuss it in the future? Do you want to, I'm not sure what I just, so I have some direction, what you want to do.
Well, I would like to see more direction go into it and you revise it and give us a better idea of exactly what takes place under this ordinance that's in here. All right, it's too open-ended. And it's really not, in my opinion, it's really not telling council how to do it, just like when we pick a manager, we hire a firm.
Okay.
All right, is a firm involved in this here to receive the, resumes, and then council like we do when we interview for a manager, we say yes or no to it, and we cut the number down. See, there's nothing in here that I can
No,
see.
that's fine. I just think you
That's
have
what I
some
meant by it.
idea what you want to do.
That's what I meant.
So are we talking about it under this amendment, I thought? Or are we talking about take? I'm with him. I'm kind of like, I thought it was under here.
May I make a recommendation?
Sure.
Why don't we wait until we get to the introduction of ordinances?
Yeah.
And that whoever moves it, then Mr. Kanaki can jump in and indicate his concerns. If there's a motion to table. If we can resolve it with added language, fine, but I don't think it needs to be removed from the agenda now.
Okay, okay.
Right,
That's
right,
I'm gonna
that
agree
was
with
my
that,
concern.
Yeah,
Yes.
don't remove it.
So we're not moving it from the agenda. We will review it at the time when it comes
And there's,
before
yeah,
ordinance
there's an opportunity to
And then-
table it
and
if,
discuss.
if the majority of council supports tabling it for revision.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that clear? So we're.
We are
adoption,
at
we're-
awarding.
We are,
You're number 8.
no, we're
Mayor.
number, we haven't adopted the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So do we have a motion to
I
adopt
got
minutes?
confused.
Mayor, I move 8A, regular meeting of June, regular meeting minutes of June 19th, 2024.
So moved.
Yeah, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
I'm sorry, yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes,
Mayor, I'll move 8B, regular meeting minutes of July 16th, 2024.
is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
No.
Yes. Okay. Next is the awarding, or rejection of bids.
Mayor, I'd like to move 9A, number 384, authorizing a contract for the rehabilitation of 13 White Marsh Drive.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, and is there any discussion?
Mr. Malinsky?
This is just a rehabilitation under our Affordable Housing Rehabilitation Program, paid for from the trust fund and a requirement under our affordable housing application.
Can I ask a question? How do residents qualify for this grant?
They can go on our website
Okay,
and
apply.
they'll see all of the qualifying, it's an income requirement. And I agree with you, not enough people take advantage of this, and we are going to be taking steps to get the word out a little bit more. Since our obligation has increased, we anticipate an increase in 2025, based upon what's come out in the fourth round.
Thank you. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Okay, introduction of ordinances, we have,
Mayor, I'd like to introduce 10A, ordinance number 2479-24, an ordinance amending Chapter 10, Article 6 of the Code of Township of Lawrence entitled Municipal Clerk.
is there a second? This is,
This is when you can
okay. Now, is there any discussion?
discussion.
All right. Well, I would ask the attorneys to review what's in front of us tonight, clarify a lot more on how do we look at hiring the person? Is it a firm that we have to hire to receive the applications and then council says yes or no? And just a little more understanding of who hires it or who has the right to fire. There's nothing in here that says who would have to enforce if the person had to be fired. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I understand where you're coming from, Councilman, and I think the direction I need is from council as to how they want to fashion this particular amendment to the ordinance. My instruction, my recollection of my instruction was to amend to allow the deputy clerk to be appointed by township council, no more, no less. I understand your concern as to other areas of direction and all the day-to-day activities. I would need some direction as to which way to possibly amend, and keeping in mind our form of government with the strong municipal manager who has certain rights and obligations really under the ordinance, under the Faulkner Act for employees. This is kind of a hybrid that this individual works, and I think everybody would agree, directly for the clerk. There is language in one of the ordinances, which I don't have in front of me, but indicates that the municipal manager can also direct certain activities if the clerk, if that person has, in essence, free time, which I would highly doubt in all candor, knowing the workload of the clerk's office.
Free time on it?
I'm not over, look, I highly doubt that there'll be a lot of free time to do other work. And this is no reflection on the clerk. It's just, I deal with the clerk a lot. There's a lot of work in there. So this person would clearly take primary direction from the clerk. But as to, any disciplinary situation, ultimate firing, I think there are provisions within the structure of the Township of Lawrence that provides for that, and the enforcement of that, just off the top of my head, without doing any further research, would probably lie with the manager because of our form of government. However, as I say, it's a hybrid. This person is directly under the supervision of the clerk, and I would think the clerk would have certain rights and a certain ability to make recommendations on that. But I would certainly appreciate any comments from council or the manager in that regard.
Mayor, may I make just
Yes, go ahead.
one comment?
Yes.
You can agree to disagree. I disagree with Mr. Councilman Kanaki on that. We went through that with the judge on applications, and I thought we did pretty darn good. We put it out there, and I believe, Mr. Sypek, we put it out, you put it in the League of Municipalities and whatnot, what you're looking for in your email. So we interviewed, we got what we were doing, I think it was 10 days, you put it out. We get the applications in, we select it, we do the interview, and I thought we did a wonderful job on the municipal judge on it, so it would be the same way of doing it. Yeah, I'm done.
Well, I want everybody to be clear, and especially the residents that are here, that this is a title. Deputy Municipal Clerk is a title to be filled. It's not a position. It's not a situation where there is a vacancy in the municipal clerk's office where an individual, we need another body working at the clerk's office to the cost of the town of approximately $90,000 to $100,000, including benefits. This is a title that was required due to our code change in 2019. Right now, we have two individuals working for the clerk in the clerk's office, staff members. One has the title of Assistant Township Clerk. It's the same position, doing the same work. So this issue of going out and hiring another person to come in and work within the clerk's office, and Madam Clerk, you can join in if you want to, but we've already discussed the manpower issue, the need and the not need for it. We have an individual in the office that absolutely can take that title and do exactly the same work that she's already doing under that title, at no additional cost to the taxpayers.
I just want to double check, because I want to be within the law, in terms of discussing members of the staff
Yeah,
in the
we're,
clerk's
yeah,
office.
we're just,
within
we're
our
just,
means.
we're just
Okay.
general,
I'm
not
yeah,
talking
we're
about
not talking about
I just wanna make
individuals.
sure. So, because you're saying that there's an existing person in that office
Yeah.
who can do the work, but it does not have the current title that we are requesting council has the power to appoint.
Right, so the state law, the state statute provides for municipalities such as ours, the Faulkner Act, council manager,
Mhm.
to either have the appointing authority be the municipal manager or the governing body. Our particular ordinance code was silent on that issue. And for 53 years, the municipal manager has always been the hiring authority for the clerk's office, for the staff, assistant
So,
township clerk, right? So, but since the law provides for the governing body to be the appointing authority, you're well within your right to change it, right? Or to actually clarify and establish new policy, which is what this is
And that's what
proposing
this
to do.
ordinance is doing.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what's happening. Like, if the majority of you vote, you now take that, the appointing authority, that's your authority. That is separate and apart from making a decision about staffing issues within the municipal government.
right,
That's
separate.
separate, and that's just our form of government, and I want to make sure to always protect our form of government.
Absolutely. Lisa. So, council,
Mayor, may I?
okay,
Yeah,
one
Mayor.
second. Currently, the clerk is an appointment of council.
Correct.
Okay, so what we're asking is for a similar, scenario, abiding all of the same laws,
Correct.
regulations, nothing different. It would just be, because ideally, the deputy clerk steps into the role of the clerk with time and experience.
Yeah, that's
through
the prime
the mission-
responsibility.
Responsibility
Right.
in preparation for that. So we're within reason. There's nothing.
No, absolutely.
So that's what I'm-
The,
That's what I'm making.
Completely fine.
our ordinances were basically silent as to the appointing authority. We can debate that, but I think this just simply makes it clear, you're the appointing authority for that position. We're not talking about any individuals, we're not talking about any current employees or future employees or any employee. Just that position will be, would be enacted by this ordinance. That is it.
That's all.
I understand Mr. Kanaki's concern, valid. We do have certain peculiarities with, that may not be the right word, but with our form of government in terms of the strong municipal manager who would have control over, needed disciplinary action or any administrative action would lie in the manager's office, not with council. That's not the way we operate, just for any employee. So, but the amendment to the ordinance simply says that position would be, you would enact the deputy clerk position to the appointment by the council. Yes. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a title.
Yeah, it's a type, it's simply a type.
And there is enough in Art, you can confirm this after if you're gonna do more research on it. There's enough in our code that provides that the subordinates to department heads or others similarly situated are under the control, supervision of the municipal manager.
Yeah.
So I think if there's some language that we could put into this ordinance finally, that just simply
That's all.
affirms that it's a subordinate under the, because you don't really want to have somebody that's not bound to the rules and regulations of every other township employee working side by side. I mean, that's,
But this is just an introduction to it.
It's just introduction.
So it's not adopted yet.
No, we're not adopting
So-
anything today.
So, Mayor,
You're
if I
introducing
may.
it.
Councilor Bobbitt, go ahead.
I've been patiently waiting, so I'd love to weigh in on this. I think what surprised me was that there was so much gray area in this, our current ordinance, and how we've modified it and added the deputy clerk a position. And so there was this concern about who's the appointing authority, right? Like, we had always had the manager do it, and then this council has decided to go in a different way and wanted to appoint it. I won't even go down that road, I'll continue going straight. And so I was surprised to see that in the ordinance, it was very, very simply stated that we're just gonna amend the ordinance to say that the deputy municipal clerk, who shall perform the duties of municipal clerk in the absence upon direction of the municipal clerk, is gonna be appointed by the township council. That was literally the only change. And it surprised me because one of the towns that you provided, and I appreciate the report that you gave, it was very thorough. In the back, you pointed out 60-something random municipalities throughout the
Right.
state, and I really appreciated that. And one of them is close to home in East Windsor, within our Mercer County, and also thankfully is sort of same form of government, correct?
Exact same form.
Yeah, and so their deputy clerk ordinance is very specific, maybe a little overly specific, but I won't say too much about that. But it talks about appointed by majority of council, serves at the council's pleasure, initial appointment has a probationary period. It sort of lays out a structure. It also lays out sort of semi-evaluated by the municipal clerk in accordance with personnel policy, evaluated once a year by township council. And it's very specific about sort of who's in charge, right? And so that's what I would really love to see in the ordinance, is something along those lines of really sort of laying out, so we don't have any more gray area. I feel as if we're gonna come at something that had some gray in it to begin with, it would be nice to really nail it down and have it in black and white. So happy to discuss further with mayor, council, or Mr. Sypek, but that's kind of what I'm looking for, something along those lines.
And that is because, I was gonna say, that's because a lot of them are, you can have it by compensation. I didn't think we was gonna discuss this tonight, but that's the terms, you set the terms of compensation. How many, how long they're gonna be, and things of that nature, their duties and things. And most towns do have that specific. If you go, I live in Burlington County, we have 40 municipalities, and all of them are specific as to how it's gonna be. And the same thing here. We have to remember, you know, when you go around and you look at other towns, we are not a strong mayor form of government. Even in Mercer County, most of them are strong mayor form of government, with the exception of East Windsor. But you also have to remember that a lot of them aren't civil service at the same time, and we are. So you really, the mayor and the council duties when it comes to subordinates are very specific to under the Faulkner Act law.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, do we have a motion in a second?
I
believe so.
have one question for
Okay.
clarification.
Mhm.
So to Councilman Bobbitt's point, and for clarity, should that language be added in so there are no gray areas, so that it is clear that the appointing body will follow the following process based on the report that you also provide?
Yeah, I will revise the amendment to the ordinance to try to cover these various issues. And then it's up to you to accept, reject, modify, whatever. I understand the direction now. We didn't have that
Last-
clarity last time. And Councilman Bob is correct, you know, I provided 40, 50
Pages.
different ordinances around the state, and that was very helpful, actually. And some are razor thin, and some are, you know, quite large in their description. I think we could probably have a happy balance there. And I'll provide that, and then you can decide if that's the way you want to go, or pare it down, or whatever. But I'll be happy to do that between now and the next meeting.
So, Mayor, can I ask the township attorney, is that something that we can sort of pass it as is and then have it amended, or reintroduce?
I think that's a substantial change.
That's not a de minimis change, that's a substantial change. So I think we should
All right, so I'll make a motion to table,
Yeah, just
ordinance
table.
10A.
We have a motion, second.
Second. Okay.
Madam Clerk, if you can call the roll for tabling.
Mr. Bobbit,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
No,
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. So, council, you will get additional
Yes,
information for us,
I'll put,
but you have an understanding of what council will do.
yeah, I just have better direction now.
Do you have any additional ordinances? Okay, managers report, here we are.
As you know, Police Chief Christopher Longo has submitted his retirement papers to be effective January 1st, 2025. As a result, we underwent a process of selecting his replacement, and I've appointed Lieutenant Kevin Redding Jr. as the interim police chief. As you know, we are a civil service community, and we base our promotions and appointments off of a civil service list. The list that is currently in place was incomplete, so there will be a new testing cycle for police chief that's going to occur sometime in the first part of 2025. Those test results will come back to the town, and the appointment comes from the top 3 candidates on that list. So as it is right now, we importantly have somebody that's a police chief that's going to be able to do the work of a police chief effective January 1st, because we've got a lot going on in our town over these next 6 months with transitioning to in-house 911 service, as well as new systems being installed in conjunction with Mercer County as well. So it's important to have this individual in place. And I think the department it was a really difficult decision, I must say, but I think Lieutenant Redding is ready for the task. And he has my full support, and I'm hoping that he has all your support as well.
Thank you.
And the only other comment I'll make is, I'm not sure if you all read, I'm sure you have, that another report came out about Trenton Waterworks. And it was about negative issues occurring in 2023. And the Ewing Mayor Steinman came out and made a very strong advocating for his resident customers of Trenton Waterworks, demanding better from Trenton Waterworks. So I would ask for you to consider reviewing the issue and joining in some way a resolution or something in support of the concepts that were put in place that were stated by Mayor Steinman in terms of transparency and maybe heightened New Jersey DEP oversight over that public entity until they get that public utility, until they straighten out. These are things that, these reports come out, these notices come out, and they're actually required by law, but they actually are things that happened. We're at the end of 2024, and this is coming out in 2023. That's not the issue, other than these are things that happened in the past and not currently happening right now. And this has to do with monitoring, not water quality that's coming out at this point in time. But listen, it's a problem, and I think we are involved in litigation. We've joined Hopewell, Hamilton and Ewing, and joined the litigation by the New Jersey DEP against Trenton Waterworks. It's still ongoing, and we are going to continue to advocate for our Trenton Waterworks customer presence here. And I think you should consider some type of resolution that supports further oversight and better, just as a further advocate on behalf of our resident customers. And finally, and I'm gonna, the trolley. The holiday trolley.
Mayor, I don't know if he wants to step on this.
No, I mean, listen, it's Nancy Bergen's created this event that everyone just loves. And we are now the victim of our own success because we're now at a point where the tickets, it's sold out within minutes. I think it's 194 attendees, 2 trolleys, 3 times in the span of one night. And so we have an event now where we have to turn residents away, and that doesn't resonate well with me. Like, when we have other community events, it's like, everybody come and, participate and be a part of it. This one is peculiar in the sense that we have to turn residents away who aren't lucky enough to get tickets to do it. So what we've done is we reached out to the trolley company to add another trolley. We're gonna get that information out. There's a waiting list of, I think, 41 people who will be informed that there's a place for them, and then there's gonna be some.
I was about to say 43.
You gotta get on and make your request. And, the Facebook post had a lot of not accurate information. This is not a revenue event for us at all. Like I think it's $12 a person, and it goes towards paying for the event, but it comes out of our municipal budget. So it's not a situation where we can just keep expanding it until no one is turned away. I don't know, but we're gonna have to revise how we offer this up. And I think one of the things that Nancy and I discussed, I think that we're gonna do is have a lottery system for next year. And instead of having to wait to 6 o'clock or whatever it is and then put in for it and see if you get it, like we used to do in the 80s for concerts. Hopefully we'll have a different way and more, and then add on to it in a responsible way. So that information is gonna come out. So hopefully, it reduces the people who are upset that they can get a chance to participate in it. But we heard the feedback, and we're trying to do something about it.
It's a good problem to have. I mean, not,
Yeah. So that's all.
Okay. All right, Madam Clerk. Let's see.
You have the attorneys.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Huge report.
Attorney, sorry. My glasses.
No, just very briefly, I want to say I attended a number of pretty interesting seminars at the New Jersey League of Municipalities a couple of weeks ago, some geared primarily for the attorneys. And I thought the most interesting one probably was the one on the use of social media by council members, mayors and council members. And after sitting there for whatever it was, a couple hours, whatever, I don't think you should ever go on social media again.
I don't.
There is litigation, all over the state over what's being said on social media by council members in their official capacity, their unofficial capacity. You just got to be very careful if you are on social media, that no matter what it is, that you differentiate your opinion versus private opinion versus your opinion as a council member, opinion of the Township of Lawrence. It gets and that can be very difficult to do. I understand that, but I would be remiss if I did not tell you to really, before you push the send button or whatever, read it and make sure it's clear that if it is a certain opinion, you clearly differentiate from your personal view versus the entire Township of Lawrence. Because there's been some difficult litigation for some council people around the state. That's all I have. Thank you.
Happy birthday. That's it.
Madam Clerk.
Okay, so just a few things I have. The pay-to-play statements have been sent out to everyone, so we've been getting a few of those in.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Pay-to-play,
Oh, pay to play.
yes, that's for the professional services. Yeah, we're getting ready for the new year.
Yeah.
Okay, boards and committees, I gave you an up-to-date listing. It's dated, so you'll know which one. We did get 3 new, people, I think, one for the health advisory, Mr. Larson, and also, I think there was one other person that was on the new listing. As you can see, the meeting dates are set for next year. I put that on, that'll be under resolutions. Just a little house cleaning item. When we attend seminars or any type of seminars, we just gotta be mindful that, we have to, either send an email or let them know in advance, because if we don't, cancel in time, we're still responsible for paying. Okay, just be mindful of that. And then, our wonderful, Public Works, department, you see this beautiful display that they did here, it looks great. He asked for, and I didn't even ask, they just did it for me, it's so sweet. Well, anyway, he asked me to ask the council if he can have about 5 minutes of time of next meeting. Kirk Kenny is retiring, and he has, as of January 1st, and he has been with him through thick and thin, floods, storms, everything. And he just want to give him a little plaque or recognition before his peers. So he asked if I could ask the council.
Well,
That would be
that's
okay.
fine.
It's a yes by me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, by me too. Kirk's a good guy.
Yeah. And that is it.
Unfinished business. We have maybe new business. Okay, moving along. Public participation now for 3 minutes. Your minutes don't start till you get to the mic, so, okay, slow down.
I got hustled. To quote Whitney Houston, I do have some receipts here, just comments, not questions, not nothing. I just wanted to clarify on my statements earlier. On August 23rd, 2022, the manager and the engineer were notified with photographs of real-time property damage at Trenton Block. Nothing came of that. And then the comments I referred to about prior knowledge by the manager of the damage that Trenton Block had caused on Township Parkland were from October 18th, 2022. The specific comment I referred to is quoting, "This is an unfortunate situation. This was land that was already occupied under Mr. Hickman, the previous owner. I know, I laid eyes on it back then." So I just wanted to cite my sources, and that is all. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, may I comment?
Yes, and now, did you say your name, just?
Eric Wood.
So, in our tree ordinance, oftentimes, residents of adjoining properties observe trees being cut down. For example, there was a business on Route 1 that was cutting trees away without a permit, without meeting the requirements of our code. We received a phone call, we immediately sent somebody there and enforced the law. Trees that were cut down in the past with no personal observation of the tree being cut down presents a proof problem for court and enforcing ordinances like that. So when Mr. Politi said while they were being cut down, I took that to mean while the act of cutting the tree down. And I don't recall ever hearing while they were cutting it down. That's something that if that was done, then somebody needed to go out during the act. But tree stumps that were there for a long period of time, that's a whole different proof situation.
You responded to that email saying that it was unacceptable behavior, you will not tolerate it, and you will look into it. at your earliest convenience by doing a site inspection.
That's true.
But
I did say that.
I said real time, just to be clear. And
Real,
since
what do we mean by real time? If we could just flesh this out.
the
Because what is
resident
real-
said they observed,
Was there observations of cutting down trees at that time?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed for the back and forth, because I
Well,
want to respect, excuse me, I'm trying to respect the mayor's
I
request.
know, yeah, because the job, I think we need to just.
Yeah.
the job.
Well, I mean, it's okay because it's not attacking your character. That's the problem that I have. Like, if I have to sit here and listen to, comments that are inaccurate or out of context, I should be allowed to respond, right?
Can you respond and say that is not true? You're,
Yeah, I
the
hear.
more you
Yeah,
engage.
yeah, it's
the more
just-
It doesn't,
Mayor,
it doesn't.
you're the chair. It's your decision.
Yeah, I just want you to, doesn't look good. Thank you.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
Sylvia Cobus, just as a clarification, we are not trying to attack Mr. Nowinski's character. We never had an intention of doing that. We never said he did something illegal. We never said that Mr. Nowinski was responsible for all of this. Never, ever. That was never our intention. If it was misunderstood, that is an incorrect interpretation of our statements. That's first of all. Second of all, Mr. Killian at the planning board meeting that was held in 2022 on July 18th, if I remember correctly, held up a piece of paper saying, I notified that's a loose quote. That's not a direct quote, but he said something to the effect of holding up a piece of paper that he notified the neighbors that he will be cutting down the trees.
Okay.
I'm not his direct neighbor. I did not receive the letter, but I was present at that
Okay,
meeting.
thank you, Ms. Copus.
Thank you.
Council, residents, as they come up, are not under oath. They're stating to their recollection,
Right.
their own words, their interpretation. So, that's, in terms of, definition, we just need to have a.
Take it for its face value and move on.
3 minutes, anybody, does anyone else?
Amber legs takes a while.
Clock doesn't start till you get to the mic.
That's right. Hey, Mr. Nowinski,
Name and.
Nick Sparrow, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
116 Oakland Terrace. Thank you for listening to the community and getting the extra trolley. That is the hottest ticket in town. I mean, these things sold out in minutes, so thank you for listening. Hopefully we'll find a better solution for next year. Ms. Perry, I heard what you said, and I don't want it to be misconstrued that it's the rec committee against your committee. We're all here for the same purpose, like Mr. Bond had said. I apologize if it seemed to come out that way, but at the same time, when the committee members, all 10 of us, were denied presenting in front of council, it's troubling. So we'll move forward, we'll try it again at another time, but at the same time, we are, I think, kind of the pulse of the community. We were elected by you to be part of the members to help with the rec committee. And I understand what you explained, that they're two different groups, but these 10 people that volunteer their time are the community, and I think their voices need to be heard for the whole community.
Thank you.
Thank you. And don't forget the tree lighting tomorrow night.
Thursday.
You're ready.
Action, okay. Okay, we're closing now the public participation and moving on to resolutions.
Yeah,
That's fine. Mayor, I'd like to move 18D1 through, be patient with me, H6, and then H8, H9, and H11 in a block.
Which one did we pull?
Wait, can we
Page
pull,
7.
can we
So-
pull 7 out?
So 10, so I'll reverse it for help before I can get a second. I'm pulling out H7 for discussion, and H10 had already been removed, so that I can have further conversation.
Yep.
Does that help and everyone
Thank
keep
you.
the score?
Yes.
Wonderful.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
And second, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki.
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes.
And then, Mayor, I'll move H7, number 394, authorizing a resolution appointing a municipal housing liaison.
Second.
Move a second, and there's discussion on this item.
I just have a question. Is this the affordable, is this a stipend for the affordable housing? This
No.
one?
No.
No, this is a requirement by the DCA. I've been acting in this capacity. This is just complying with their regulations. There must be a liaison employed with the town under the affordable housing program. And so when Andrew Link retired, I took over his responsibilities, and I've been acting as municipal liaison. I think we even had a resolution, I think it was 2019 or so, but we received notice of that. They're compiling a new list, and they want this to happen.
They compiled a new list and they didn't have a resolution on file, so that's what they wanted.
There is no stipend associated.
There's no stipend.
Okay, so we have a second? Yes? And now, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt. Yes. Mr. Kanaki.
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Okay. We're now to the section of council initiatives and liaison reports. Do we have any updates on ELSA?
Mr. Ryan?
None.
No? Okay. Go ahead.
I think it's the lighting.
Tree lighting.
Is there anything else you want to share about,
I'm sorry.
rec? No, it's talking to, Kanaki, Jim.
Any rec-
Councilman Kanaki. Is there anything else you want to share with regards to recreation or
Besides the tree lighting.
tree lighting?
Well, Thursday, Nick, it's Thursday night, not tomorrow night.
Okay,
I'm pushing a week away.
We need some heaters out there, 'cause tomorrow night.
okay. And then the other thing, I noticed that there's a welcome home ceremony for the reservists. Can you share?
Today, they were supposed to report in at 1 o'clock from the company seat of the tag unit, which is the headquarters next to the 112th, the white building. And another unit, that's part of it. Something about the plane, it delayed it. They weren't gonna land until 4 o'clock today in Philly and then be escorted by the state police to the 112th. We heard about this morning. We were not notified. It was strictly for family members only, all right? Nobody else. Believe me, at 9 o'clock this morning, we heard this.
And they saw the sign that said the welcome home. Mhm.
And so the next time a group comes in, from the brigade that went from New Jersey, is the 16th of December, which will be a bigger group than, I think today might have been maybe 250 people, all right? The next group will probably be closer to 4,000 or 5,000 people.
Wow.
And on the 27th of December, you got about another maybe 3,000 coming in.
Wow.
Because when you set up a gate, it's plenty of people. What will happen at that point, we will leave behind maybe 90 people to help transition from us to the groups that are taking over. They might be there to, say, February, and then they will become a home. Then as far as New Jersey, we won't have nobody, at least guard-wise, in the zones that, you know, everybody knows there's 3 zones. It's really 5 zones, and 2 zones we can never talk about because they're that hot. All right, so when you send a package that we did do 3 times, it went to one area. From there, it went to the areas that they couldn't even tell her, say, parents, wife, whatever.
Where they were.
But yes, but 9 o'clock this morning, we heard this.
Wow.
All right, and then when there was a group that came home, I think last Friday, but they really weren't from New Jersey, even though it looked like it was. It wasn't a New Jersey group. All right, so this is their first group that came home now.
Wow. Well, that's good news.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
And in the hot areas that they were in, knock on wood, none of our soldiers got hurt at all.
All right.
And the big thing was, the new thing is, when I went in anyway, it was look forward, look left, look right, look behind you. Well, the new thing today is look forward, look left, look right, look up. They were bringing in drones and dropping bombs on our base.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's something new now.
Okay.
Totally different type of war.
Whew. Thank you. Thank you for their service. We are so fortunate. I just wanted to make sure that if someone was home, that we recognize them.
We could celebrate them.
Yes, yes. Okay, Councilwoman, do you have a?
Well, I'm happy to say that we have the RFP on the agenda for the study that is going to be bid and independent for the needs of the fire department and EMS for the township. Once we receive the bids, we will review them. We're hoping excuse me.
I didn't hear any of that.
We have put on the agenda the RFPs requesting bids for independent contractors so that we could get information and what would be best for the township as far as the fire and EMS direction. Now, we are giving them at least 6 months. It may take a little bit longer, but we're hoping that within late spring, early summer, that we will have a direction to move forward.
Well, I'm a little confused.
Can you repeat?
What is what is the question?
Well, I mean, the RFP has gone out.
It will go
It
out.
will go out.
Authorized today.
Authorized today. So it will go out by next week. Hopefully, early January, we get some bids back. And then from there, we're hoping by late spring, early summer, that we have the report back to us.
Report back.
Yes, the report back, giving us guidance so that we could look at what is the feasibility of centralization, if that's necessary, where, all the things that we've been discussing for the last few months as far as how to best structure our, under the management, our fire and EMS department.
That's the report back from the independent contractor.
Correct.
That's selected.
Correct. So the bid is going out. We hope to select someone by the end of January, and then from there to go forward and get a report back from the person that we selected. And we will be giving you updates along the way, so you know who participated in the bid, who was selected and why, and then what the results are.
question.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it's not a question and answer, it's just, she's just reporting on her committee and giving you an update on what's going on.
Thank you.
Councilman Ryan, do you have any?
No, Mayor.
Okay. Councilman Bobbitt? Okay. Let's see what we have. The planning board met this week. We are still, in the process of reviewing our master plan. There will still be stakeholder meetings to come. There's just been an extension of our timeline for completing the master plan, and we're also will be, reviewing the, affordable housing numbers. Mr. Nowinski, is there anything that we can share about the affordable housing numbers, just that we'll be reviewing the numbers that have been released?
Go ahead.
No, I mean, so we got our affordable housing obligations for the fourth round. Art and I will be going through, and provide a presentation to you all, whether it's the next meeting or the meeting after that, because we're gonna get feedback from our planner as to what this actually means. My first look at it, it's a lot, but it's not nearly what it was for the third round, so.
Can we have the planner come in next meeting?
We can make a request.
It's up to you.
Okay. We'll take that into consideration, yeah.
I believe, and I don't have, my file here, but I believe we have to respond by January
31st, I believe.
And I've already started to draft a resolution that hopefully will comport with what council will want to do on this. But I agree with Mr. Nowinski. I looked at the report quickly, talked to some people actually down at the league about it. I think, and I don't recall the numbers, but they were not nearly as severe as the third round. And we'll see what the planner says, but they seemed within the realm of reasonableness. So, and some other attorneys I talked to felt similarly that this fourth round was not as severe as a lot of people were fearing. That doesn't mean it's that way throughout the entire state, but I think we're going to fare fairly well with it. So, but planner certainly can give comments on that.
Okay. And then, since our last meeting, I did attend another grand opening of a new business in the township. A very tasty one. A lot of restaurants or food establishments have been opening up in our town, so I'm very excited about that. Anytime I get to taste a burger or a fry. Also, I did visit our Centurion at her birthday party. I think that was last Sunday. Great celebration. I'm going to tell you, it was a real show of the love and support for our community, for this particular individual in our community. I know I'm blanking on Miss
Pickering.
Miss Pickman. She was Veronica Pickman. It was just such an honor to have an opportunity to meet her, her family. She's 100, and she was, the story goes, she wanted to get on a horse. She loves horses. And they wouldn't let her mount the horse at the Mercer County Equestrian Center.
Please don't.
So she has a beautiful picture next to the horse. But she has a lovely family, and what impressed me most was her neighbors, how her neighbors came out, and you could tell they really care and they have a good time with one another. She's very much admired in her community, so it was an honor to attend her birthday celebration. Anything else? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. And also last night, both Councilwoman and I attended the Unity former Women's Space lighting of luminaries in recognition of women's Unity's, which formerly Women's Space's work over the many years in helping women, children, and men in domestic violence situations. Also there with us was our police chief, Mr. Longo, and two officers, Officer Redding and Officer Ryan also attended, and our county clerk, Paula Cavilla, was there as well. And
member representation from the rec department,
And-
Bonnie Giglio. And her
Bobby, yes, and Ms. Gabriel was also there from the rec department and Girl Scouts. It was nice. We all were there and again, once again, just the illuminating of hope and the great work that Women's Space Unity does for our community. We're very fortunate that they've been at this work for almost 50 years. Those are 47, I think, years that they have been in this line of work. And we can't thank enough our police officers who are the first responders in many occasions. And not an easy thing, but they do a tremendous service to our community.
Just keep everyone in your thoughts and prayers for the holidays, because unfortunately, the increase in domestic violence in our community is triple-fold.
Yeah.
The statistics were very alarming yesterday when the staff was telling us about how the increase in domestic violence continues here. And this time of year, people are even more tension, more stress, so we pray that it would not continue to increase. The hope that we all discussed yesterday was that 50 years from now, that we don't even need the community unity program.
Yeah.
But that is, my big heart hoping for the best.
And I guess lastly, we talked about the league. I had the distinguished honor and opportunity to present or be a panelist at the league this year and represent Lawrence Township. And it was a great panel with fellow mayors and council people from throughout the state to talk about the work that we do in Lawrence with regards to our businesses, to the diversity of our community. And I want to thank Manager Nowinski for your support and information to help me do that presentation. It was well received, and I was happy to do that on behalf of Lawrence Township and Council. All right. So now, written communication. I have we received a thank you letter from the United States Senate on behalf of Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. He says, Dear Mayor Hendricks Summer, thank you for welcoming me to Lawrence Township and joining me at Special Olympics New Jersey. I appreciate your commitment to supporting your residents and your continued work to ensure the well-being of the entire community. I'm grateful for your leadership and look forward to continuing to work together. Sincerely, Cory A. Booker, United States Senator. Yeah. I did receive an award, if I did mention it. I had the distinguished honor last Friday of receiving an award, and it says, it's a Gracias Award. Honorable Patricia Hendricks Runner, thank you for your dedication, leadership, and commitment to culture and the community. Your efforts have made a transformative difference in the community you serve. We present you with this award in appreciation of all the work you do to preserve our history. Presented by your friends in Mercer County, November 27, 2024. I do it all for you all, so it's not me alone. We're in this together. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, Mayor, under written communication, we got a notice from the New Jersey Department of Transportation, public, about, they're gonna be doing some work on, let me just read it so I don't butcher this. There's gonna be an informational meeting Monday, December 9th from 6 to 8 p.m. here at the Lawrence Township Municipal Building. You'll have an opportunity to review presentation exhibits and relevant items, submit questions, and leave feedback. It's about, the project aims to provide design improvements to decrease traffic delays and reduce crashes on I-295 approaching the exits to Route 1 northbound and to maintain traffic flow in the project area along Route 1 corridor to 3 nearby shopping centers, including Quaker Ridge Mall, they say Mercer Mall, but we know it's Mercer 1 now, and Nassau Park, along with other retail, office, hotel, and residential development along the corridor. The preliminary preferred alternative, or PPA, for the project includes the following. Provides a 2-lane ramp from I-295 southbound to Route 1 northbound, widens the ramp bridges over the DNR Canal on Route 1, adds a new ramp from Route 1 northbound through the interchange for local traffic to Grover's Mill Road and businesses on Route 1 northbound, provides barrier separation of Route 1 northbound from ramp traffic beyond Renaissance Boulevard to improve safety, extends Route 1 northbound auxiliary lane to a second Quaker Bridge wall through the driveway. So it's something that's happening next Monday. I think we've all experienced the joy of Route 1 in that area at 295. So if you're interested, come to the Township Municipal Building Monday, December 9th. Meeting scheduled from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Thank you. Next, non-written communication, ready for a touch base with Manager Lucy. I noticed there's another improvement on the Franklin Corner Road 206 intersection. There's a left-hand turn now.
It went up quick, but it took 20 years to do.
Oh my God. That was amazing.
But it's funny to see the muscle memory of people who still
Go
take
in
the
the.
jug handle to make a left, and then they're looking and seeing the situation where people are going, so far, so good.
Yeah, I haven't made the left turn yet. I'm gonna just have to drive. But what a tremendous improvement. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, it was getting really bad. It was getting really bad there, so.
Okay. All right. Okay, so that concludes our written communication comments, and we are now going to enter into executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Now, do we have a motion and a second for executive session? All in favor? Okay, thank you to the public for coming out tonight. Hopefully there isn't a lot of snow out there. It's been here, right?
If there is, let us know.
Send us a text.
I'm gonna drive in the winter. I'll just drive.
But we're being realistic, since they're gonna be doing a complete survey, it's probably gonna take about 6 months. Yes. All right, thank you.